Alright, I'm back again, and I have a question. Am I crazy? Now, don't answer it right away. Hear me out first, and just to determine if I am indeed crazy. I know I have done a video or two talking about customer service and dealing with people and being in a role which requires you to basically be a lightning rod for negativity like I have. It's not my cup of tea. I think that's been made abundantly clear in the past multiple times. Here's where the questions come into play. Right now, we are extremely shorthanded. Part of that is because my employer has this thing. They want to have the bare minimum number of people to do a job and do it while maintaining satisfactory efficiency. That's the Lean Sigma 6 crap I have harped on multiple times. Because of that, anytime anyone leaves, it automatically puts everyone else in a giant bind. Because all of a sudden, it becomes a matter of everyone having to do even more work than they already were, even if they're completely and totally just buried. And when you're dealing with people like I am, it gets miserable very quick, especially when you get people who want to argue over the dumbest things. Like literally arguing that you don't know which day it is because you're in a different state. And I'm not talking about state of confusion. No. Actual, like, I'm in this state over here, you're in this state over there in the United States. And because of that, we get our days mixed up. That type of arguing over things like that. So when I say dumbest things, I mean dumbest of dumbest things. Or they want to tell you you did not just say what you said literally to them 2 minutes ago. Like they'll call in and not realize they're talking to the same person and try to argue that you said something completely different. These are types of things that don't work well with me. I'm not good with people to begin with. As you might know, I mentioned the psychiatrist, which is what he was because he did have a PhD in psychiatry. He did say it was social anxiety disorder and a little bit of OCD combined and with a few other things in such a way that mimics or resembles high-functioning autism, such as Asperger's, but not enough to warrant a actual diagnosis. That's the official diagnosis. So, because of that, I have limits on how much peopling I can do. And the more they want to argue, and the more I have to deal with people who argue, the lower that threshold goes. So, here's where the part. Now that I've gone through all this backstory, here's the part where I'm asking if I'm crazy. Because someone left, we're now no longer adequately staffed to do the job. Because we are no longer adequately staffed to do the job, and probably won't be for a few months with the way the hiring process wants to go, I have taken my personal job search and put it on the back burner. Because in my mind, that does not seem fair to the employer who, the actual people that it would affect are not the ones that are making the decision. They have to deal with it too. That gets into the corporate overlords. So all the people that are in my office, they don't necessarily like it. They have to deal with it too. And if I leave, they would be the ones affected, not the people actually making the decision. So it's not am I crazy for trying to be considerate of them when, if they wanted to get rid of me, they would do so no problem. Especially if they had adequate staffing to do it. Maybe I just have a different sense of loyalty than what exists anymore, because I grew up with the mindset of you get a good job, or you get a job, you work, you put in the effort, you have a career for life. That's what I grew up hearing, having instilled in me. And what I've realized is pretty much all employers don't feel that way toward their employees. Maybe smaller mom and pop companies feel that way, but bigger ones, they don't care. You're just an employee ID number with a $sign beside your name. And as long as that $sign stays black and don't go into the red, they'll keep you around. That's the way it has seemed so many times before, and I've talked to multiple people who've said that. So am I crazy for putting my job search on the hold to try and be nice to an employer, to give them a chance to get someone hired in and up to speed, to where if I leave, when I leave, then hopefully it's on agreeable terms, they won't be completely and totally screwed. But by the same token, am I screwing myself? I mean, don't get me wrong. The green light for unlimited overtime is probably going to prove quite beneficial as I continue whittling away on the Super A, trying to get it up and running. But is the money worth the stress and the hassle? Because, I'm keeping on with my Vivo Smart 4 from Garmin, even though it's seen its better days, just because of the stress tracker. And one thing I've noticed is throughout the day, every time I get a call, the stress levels shoot up through the roof. And I'm ending days stressed out with anxiety and halfway sick to my stomach, headaches, and everything else. I don't know, maybe I'm overcomplicating it, and maybe I'm not. This is a legitimate call that I don't know how to make. Because if the only other person in my actual department hadn't left, I'd be fighting tooth and nail to be out the door. And yeah, this is a situation where you had two people doing a 3-person job, and now you have one person trying to do a 3-person job. And yeah, there's people trying to jump in and help, but they have their own work to do. So, yeah, that's quite a conundrum, and I've rambled on way longer than I really intended to. Is it crazy to think of your immediate superiors in this situation who are having to deal with the consequences of someone else's decision? That would be the corporate overlords, because they're the ones that said no third 3-person team, no this and that and everything else to create the situation where we would wind up being short-staffed. You know, they've not given me immediate management has not given me any justifiable reason to give them the middle finger like that. So for the sake of protecting, not burning that bridge, is it worth it? And I know that's kind of a long way to put it, but that's still a relevant question in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Later.